Marriage gets a bad rep because no one wants to do the work. If you can't commit to yourself, how committed are you to yourself? That shows up in your finances. That shows up in how you present yourself when you go out to the world. So if you can't, a lot of people just don't want to do the work. And then, so with marriage, you got to be committed. You know, when it gets hard, when you're not getting what you need at home, you got to work it out. You can't run. There's no running unless you're running into, to the arms of your spouse.
Innovate your life, it's now or never. Innovation versus extinction, strive to be better. Rise with each challenge, seize every day. Grow, evolve, there's no other way. Push the limits, explore the new.
Get ready to meet the powerhouse duo redefining fitness and community, Cedric and Schnequaw Bailey of Team Bailey Fitness. With over 20 years of experience, they're not just transforming bodies, they're building a movement. From their roots in Oak Cliff to their thriving hub in Redbird, they've combined personalized fitness with cutting-edge strategies to make health a lifestyle. But they don't stop there. These innovators are igniting entrepreneurship, hosting events that empower Dallas's boldest business minds. Join us as we uncover their game-changing approach to fitness, love, and success.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the Innovate Your Life podcast. The guests that I have today that y'all just heard about are really special to me simply because of the fact I have been personally knowing and working with these individuals for I think about 10 years, crazy as that sounds. And so when I started the concept of Innovate Your Life, and when we start talking about really tackling your health, your relationships, and your finances, this couple right here were the first couple that I thought of simply because of the fact that they are truly a triple threat. Not only are they healthy themselves, but they're helping other people get healthier. They also own a business in addition to having careers, and on top of that have a strong marriage. So introducing to some and everybody else, none other than Cedric and Pumpkin Bailey. How y'all doing today?
We are wonderful.
Wonderful, amazing.
Thank you for having us.
I really appreciate y'all for coming. When I made the call, I was kind of nervous. I'm like, oh, they may say no, but I really appreciate y'all taking the time out to come here and have this conversation with me and being able to put you on a platform and introduce you to some people who may not know about you all yet. So would you like to say a couple words about who you are and how did y'all get started in the fitness industry?
Well, you want to go?
We got started promptly after we got married, and how we developed or came into play is because we were in marriage counseling. We were going to premarital counseling, and as a part of their role, our teachers, our ministers, they made sure they were like, okay, they motivated us to find something we can do together. Because they were like, when things separate, when you divide, having something you naturally do together will bring y'all together. Wow. So his mind is always running. And he was like, okay, we both do fitness. So we hit the ground running just automatically. And it started well into the earlier years of our marriage. And it was just something that organically formed, and it was just based on our ministry. And they just kind of put us together. They got the wheel spinning, and we took it from there.
It was just great that both of us, when we met, we both just happened to be into fitness. So, it was an easy fix for us to just go right into it.
That's awesome. One of the things that y'all said that I loved in that is marriage counseling. I feel like a lot of people now don't do it and need to do it. I know me and my wife, we went through like 3 different rounds at 3 different churches because it's like, hey, you can never have enough. And it's like we learned something different from each one. What would you all say outside of that was like one of your main takeaways from premarital counseling?
Well, one of the things with premarital counseling, we actually went into premarital counseling not even being engaged or anything. We just wanted to see if it was something, if marriage was something that we wanted to do as we were dating. And so as we went through, I had already been through a class
several times. We walked in and they were like, hi, Cedric. And then there's me in tow. And I'm like, you've been here before?
Well,
several times.
I wanted to be sure, and
We're going to be very transparent here today, right? We want the truth in all things.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, we want to be transparent.
So tell the people you have been there several times.
It was not really a whole lot of times, like she said, but it was enough times.
At least twice.
Twice.
But it didn't work the last two
It
times.
did not.
Well, once this is my second marriage, so I went to premarital counseling with my first wife, and then after that, of course, divorce. Went through it with another lady. Decided marriage wasn't for us.
Yeah.
So years later, I meet Pumpkin,
Yeah.
and so I ended up in premarital counseling again for the third time.
Cedric Bailey. I didn't like him. I thought he was arrogant. I thought he was very into himself. But learning him more and spending more time with him, I became to love him. And the reason when I met Cedric, he was very standoffish, and he didn't show me attention or time of day until he got a glimpse. I walked by, we met at a social gathering, and he saw my legs. And from that point on, he was hooked. And he was persistent. So, I mean, the love just naturally kind of grew and came on. But I didn't like him at first. I thought he was arrogant. But meeting him, I learned that that was just a facade. He's far from it. The biggest takeaway we experienced from premarital is just having those marriage role models, because naturally around us, we didn't organically see that. We didn't grow up with, both parents being married. So it was just amazing to see couples, marriages survive 20, 30 years, and it looked like they still had fun, like they were still friends. And so we were able to be a part of that. And so seeing it early on with us going through before we even got there, it was exciting for us to see the potential and what we could, experience and have in our marriage.
And we're still real good friends with our counselors that we went through the class with. And actually, after we went through the class, we actually joined the ministry, and we was in the ministry 5 years directly after we got married. We stayed in the ministry 5 years so we could help other couples.
Yeah. And it was very real life. You had marriages where they had they talked about just any sexual incompetencies that they had. They talked about
of course, finances.
The step parent situation, having kids outside of each other. It's very realistic.
What they call it when they have kids,
co-parenting.
Co-parenting.
Yes.
Co-parenting, and that's a big thing when you have people that have kids and come into it, with someone who doesn't have kids. But we just didn't have any kids, so we didn't have that problem.
Yeah.
Premarital counseling is I'd recommend any couple to go through premarital counseling, because you're going to see.
It shows you how well you work together, because you're working together. You're fasting together.
Right.
You're doing homework together. You're praying together. So it kind of just teaches you how to come up and just build that bond and do things together.
I agree.
When you combine and you have that warfare that's outside of the union, you don't know how to prepare for that. But as you're coming into the role, it at least show you how to work well together.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because I know when me and my wife went, it's like one of the main things that we learned is it's stuff constantly coming at you, and man, it's like it's constantly stuff coming, and so we have to make sure that we're, for number one, communicating effectively to be able to talk through the issues and talk through the situation and talk through the problem, and then address the problem as the problem and not each other. Correct. Because oftentimes sometimes it is the stuff that we bring into the relationships itself, but even once we show up in the relationships as one now, we should be able to communicate and talk through these things, and it may take some time and it may take some patience, but at the end of the day, we're worth it. Yeah. So,
and the thing about that is the dating role doesn't prepare you for that. It's like nothing you can do before then that's going to prepare you for that. Because once you make that one covenant under God, you have that warfare that you won't experience until you make the covenant. Because the devil's role is to steal, kill, and destroy. So his number one role is to break up marriages. So you're not going to experience that disruption until you make the union. And so once you make that one union, just under that, puts you under attack.
I couldn't agree with her more. You know, I know within my relationship with Jillian, my wife, when we first got engaged, that's when the pandemic happened. And so we felt like that was a disruption. And they kind of prep us for some of the things that marriage would come. But when marriage came itself, you know, we haven't had a lot of issues like that at all. It could be a lot worse, but still you can tell that the devil is really trying to break the covenant that we have under God. But for us, even when those like hard times come and the hard situations come, whether it's money, whether it's health, whether it's family, we can always communicate because we know our relationship as well as us personally, we're grounded in God. And with that kind of just being the foundation of everything that we built, no matter what is going on around us, no matter what is going on to us, we're able to communicate and get through that obstacle no matter what it is. Just because we know at the end of the day, God has called us to be what we are today, and that's where we're going to stand. That's the truth.
And no marriage looks the same.
Right.
No marriage looks the same. So going through counseling, you get a chance to see what other marriages look like, and you know the way they handle different situations, and so where you might be able to use some of their stuff to help you with your marriage as well.
Makes sense. Question for you. What would you all say? Because now I'm hearing a lot on social media where people are basically saying they don't want to get married or don't feel like marriage is the right way to go. Now I get marriage isn't for some people. Correct. So I respect that. Mm-hmm. But I feel like marriage is kind of getting a bad rep in today's society. What would you all say to that?
Well, I would say
marriage gets a bad rep because no one wants to do the work. If you can't commit to yourself, how committed are you to yourself? That shows up in your finances. That shows up in how you present yourself when you go out to the world. So if you can't, a lot of people just don't want to do the work. And then it's so easy to run once you're in that position. So with marriage, you got to be committed. You know, when it gets hard, when you're not getting what you need at home, you got to work it out. You can't run. There's no running unless you're running into, to the arms of your spouse. So I think it gets a bad rep is because it's so many infidelities out there. There are so many, families destroyed just by dumb stuff. And as you're navigating that, and then you have to survey your finances. People just see, I don't want to combine my finances only to split them up because it's hard to get out of. It's easy to get into, but it's hard to get out of. And people see the fear and experiences that people have, trying to break it up. And so that scares a lot of people.
And then a lot of people get into marriages not really even knowing, they don't know themselves, but then they don't even know there's the person that they're trying to be with, they don't even understand. They haven't been truthful with who they really are to that person, So a lot of people get into marriages and they find out it's somebody totally different than I've married. It's just not the person who I met,
Right.
So that's how a lot of people like I don't want to get married because it's too much chaos. But marriage is what you make it. It's a lot of give and take. It's a lot of listening. It's a lot of making sure you're loving one another.
And being transparent.
Most definitely got to be transparent. You got to be transparent. You can't be keeping things in that are festering. Talk with your mate. Talk with your mate.
And I think our survival, what has helped us to survive, not only survive, but to thrive, is his interest and his passion to get to know me. Because going through it, I was, we're growing together, and I'm a little younger than he is, but he was still just, as far as years of experience, he still had me way here. I haven't lived as much or had the experiences. So I didn't even know myself. I'm just now at this big age, 45, learning things about myself, but he kind of helped to bring it out. And he pays attention to me. Like, he knows my moods. He puts that work in to really pay attention to what's going on with me, even the things that I can't say or properly communicate. But it takes really like being in tune with your spouse in order to just dig into it.
It's very important to pay attention to each other and see, each other's dislikes and things that we're struggling with,
Right.
Because sometimes we're not going to express it the way we express it right away. So it's good. Like sometimes she'd be going through some things, and I know she's going through things, and I just kind of have to talk with her, just to help her get it out. Or she know I'm going.
And I'm not going to always say it right away because it's hard to be transparent, and that's the biggest thing is just showing your vulnerability.
Ooh,
I had always been
hard.
A runner. That's hard.
Yeah.
That's really harder for men.
Right.
So men really don't like to be vulnerable, but
Wow.
as I've grown, I had to change a few things in my life in order for me to be vulnerable.
Right.
Because I've just had a lot of different things go on in my life. So I had to. I stopped drinking alcohol. My little other things,
Curriculars,
extracurricular activities. But that helped me to where I was able to open my mind to where I can actually have clear thoughts and be able to, I probably wouldn't be able to do and say the things I'm saying now if I was the same person I was 3-4 years ago.
Wow. That's powerful because I think that it's important for all of us at some stage in our life that we just really start reinventing ourselves and not be scared of that. I feel like oftentimes people are scared of newness because sometimes we can get so caught up on how we've always been and the things that we've always been doing. We kind of get into a routine, but sometimes we have to break those old routines if we want something new. Yeah. And what I'm hearing you say is you wanted something new. Yeah. And so in order to get something new, you had to do something different.
You have to do something different if you want growth. Anytime you want growth in any area of your life, you're going to have to change some things. And it might be some places you might have to stop going to. It might be some people that you might have to stop being around. It might have to be some things like drinking alcohol, that I had to stop. Just not saying I was an alcoholic or anything, but I did drink a lot of beer, and I'm not gonna lie, it altered my mind a lot. I'm a very successful businessman, but I still needed. I needed peace. Yeah. I needed the peace, and I didn't have the peace that I needed. So I made the changes in order to get the peace that I needed. And if I can't have the peace, I'm not going to have the peace that she's going to need. So we got this. A lot of people don't do the work on themselves. Yeah. And when you work on yourselves, it just brings a whole lot more out, just for the people around you.
Right. And when we start really just thinking about, habits and routines, of course, we just stepped into 2025. And so a lot of people are just not getting back into the gym. We just got done having Christmas and having Thanksgiving and all of those things. But what would you say? What are some tips that y'all have that y'all use in order to build new routines and just stay consistent in creating these new habits?
What I would suggest to anyone that's trying to get started or just continuing is you go to work every day. You have a certain time. You have to start and stop. Your fitness is the same situation. Make it something you do at the same time every day, or whenever you do it, just let it be at the same time. Because that way, nothing is interrupting your schedule. You already have a time block that you're going to do certain things. So you just have to block out that time and commit to it. You have to be committed.
See, fitness and health and wellness is a mindset. It's a mindset. If you don't have it in your mind that you want to live a quality of life, a certain quality of life, you're not going to get there.
Yeah.
And you can't have a plan B. God and your health. Those are the two things that you got to focus on all the time. Because if you have both of those in order, you're going to be able to handle everything else. Because if you're not healthy, you can't do anything.
Right.
You can't.
And know your why. I mean, you do it. What's the reason that you're doing what you're doing? Once you understand the why, that'll kind of help, the work not feel like work, but it's more so just something you do because of your why. You have to do it.
I have to do it. No plan B. This is my plan A has to work.
Absolutely. What would y'all say some of your whys were when you first got into fitness? Because I know you said both of y'all were already passionate about fitness when you got together. So what were some of those whys that you all had?
When I first got into fitness, I just wanted to be bigger. I was just a skinny little kid. And I was like, man, I just want to build some muscle and just get bigger. But as I got older, my why changed. Being bigger was no longer important to me. My why became wanting to see is to stop being about me and start being about other people. Wanting to see other people, because I'm already getting mine. I'm gonna get mine regardless. I'm like, okay, you got this figured out. Now it's time for you to start living in your passion and what God has put you here for, and that's to serve, and to help other people get that mindset, to where they want to live this good quality of life, to where they can take care of their families, they can do all the things that they love to do, So that's been my why. Those were my whys.
That's good.
And my why, I believe it or not, I was a fat kid. Like I was a chubby kid. Like that's how I grew up. But I grew up not understanding nutrition. I grew up in that household where you had cornbread with every meal. Absolutely. You had dessert after everything. And so I didn't understand. So I had to teach myself. And I just knew I wanted to see change. And I didn't see the change based on my immediate family. So I had to create the change. And so I just started, exercising just to be fit, just to drop some weight. And then as I started my journey, it just became a love and a passion. So, and now I teach my family the things that I wasn't taught, and I'm trying to help to correct, dietary things that we don't do or don't see. So I try to teach them what I know, but it's, people have to want to do it for themselves. And I just want it for myself. I would tell my 12-year-old self to focus less on people's perception of you, worry less about people's opinion, because everyone's going to have them, whether or not you give them a reason to feel a way about you or not. And even being an influencer, you have to remind yourself that whether or not you give a person a reason, you have to give yourself, you have to validate yourself and not be so concerned with opinions or expectations others have for you.
That's good. That's good. I think for myself too, I know how important whys are, but sometimes we just get busy. Now that is an excuse half the time. So I'm not going to lie. But what would you say to the person that says, you know what, I want to get healthy. I want to be healthier. I want to be able to, because we understand that your health is your wealth. And like you said, God and health should be the main things. And once you get those two things under control, everything else, like you can make the money. Yeah. But if you don't have your health in order, you ain't going to even have the energy to go out and start the business. You're not going to have the energy to go out and work the job. You're not going to have the energy to make your relationship work the right way. And in order to put in that effort, you're just not going to have the energy to do it. So what would you say to the people who feel like they may be too busy? And the reason why I'm qualified to ask you all this, because y'all have businesses and working jobs and still are mastering these areas.
Yeah.
You make time for the things that are important to you. That's basically it,
And as you age and you start getting your blood work and you have certain things that could affect you, waiting on those lab work, the blood work to come back, that's scary enough. But why be fearful when, if you're doing everything that you can do to prevent disease? We're living and eating to beat disease. That's our own, that's the sole purpose. And so we're doing the things only to, keep yourself from, having to be on medication early. So when you consider all the possibilities, that is enough to scare you to do the things we know we should be doing when it comes to nutrition and moving our body. And
a lot of people say that they don't have the time, but when you really look at your life and see the things that you're doing in your life, a lot of times a lot of things can be cut out.
Yeah.
So like I said, you make the time for the things that important, and some of those other things probably not really important.
Correct.
I agree with that.
We just have to learn, it's a mindset. We have to put the things that are important at the top of the list.
Yeah, keep the main thing the main thing. Because I think I just realized a couple months ago that I'm addicted to sugar.
Yes.
And I think that that's something that you have to just be like, you know what? This is more serious than what I thought.
Because sugar is in everything.
Right.
And so it has that dopamine effect. Once we get that small little bit, it just makes you want more and more and more and more. And it's worse than any drug. It's going to have that dopamine effect it draws you.
Sugars and bread.
Right.
Everything.
I had to stop eating my 5 biscuits a day.
5 biscuits a day?
I mean, that's because I needed carbs to keep my size.
Right.
You know, my doctors, I went for my checkup, and my doctor was like, you know, you're kind of borderline diabetes. Like, how is that? What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, do you exercise every day? What's going on? It's the biscuits. She's like, you eat 5 biscuits a day? She's like, stop eating 5 biscuits a day. Everything's cool now.
That's good.
But as you age, you know, it's harder to regulate your blood sugar levels. Like it doesn't, it's not as easy. So going through the aging process, when you get older, you have to work harder.
Yeah, you have to work harder at the things that, you know.
Things you used to could do, you can't do them as you get older.
When you're told that you have these things going on, you have to make those corrections.
Yep.
You got to make the corrections right away.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So within the fitness business, industry, I know y'all have been kind of on top of the game. Because even before I actually talked to you for the first time, I had already heard a lot of great things about you all. How do you feel that that Team Bailey Fitness, which is the name of your training facility and your services, how do you feel like that has brought y'all together?
It embodies all of us, because there have been times, you know, we have been angry, didn't even want to speak to one another, but having to show up and just, you know, be present for our community that we've built. We don't want to let them down. So it kind of breaks that hardness that you want to have, because I can go forever without speaking to them. I could just be like, you know, I'm committed. I'm committed to all things. Even when I'm angry, I'm committed to the feeling. And so, you know, when you have to,
Not bad like
our
that.
community, though.
You said not anymore.
Well, ladies, you haven't been alone.
No, I've
time.
grown a lot. But just showing up with our community, it just brings us together. It's that one thing that we have in common where we come together.
You know, growing up, one of the things that me and my sisters always witnessed were my parents working together. You know, even though they had separate careers, they had a lot of different businesses that they actually work on together. And we were able to actually be a part of it and work on with them. And we saw how that helped really build a bond. So I know for me, when I started dating, one of the things that really struck my attention and really made me be like, okay, this is someone that I should take serious, was the question, is this somebody that I can work with? Because if you're getting in a relationship with someone that you can actually work with, that means that you all will be able to work through anything. So when me and Jillian started bringing everything together within our relationships, and as we're even innovating our relationship now, trying to find new businesses to start, new ways to work together, what it really does is it just really just pushes us together to be creative and create and just really create something together, which is just an awesome feeling.
I agree.
Yeah.
I like that. Question: how has your individual character kind of changed and morphed throughout the process of your business and your relationship? Because y'all have been together almost 20 years. Is that right?
We was just. I just asked her the other day. How many years we've been together?
2008. I think it's 16 years.
We've been married 16. Together 17.
Yeah, we met and married in like
Less
11
than a
months.
year.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. So throughout that time, you know, life happens, stuff changes from health to finances. Like life is just full of just unknowns and changes. What would you all say throughout that process you've learned about yourselves individually? Yeah, let me ask that.
I've learned to trust myself more, and we really just going through and learning through all our experiences, we built the trust. So building that trust, that really kind of brought us together and kind of kept us in sync. We didn't have that, you know, trust until you go through some things. And so just seeing, you know, how when that trust is, whenever it's seen, because I mean, you know, it's there, but it has to be tested. You have to go through some trials and tribulations and come out of it, just recognizing where that trust is. So,
yeah.
That's good. What role would you all say that respecting each other plays in your relationship?
What role? Respecting one another? What plays a big part, you know, respecting each other's boundaries, respecting each other's likes, dislikes,
right.
You know, that's a lot of that boils down to just learning one another. You know, continuing to learn one another and just growing together. Once you continue to grow together and learn one another, those boundaries, those things that you respect, that's all part of the respect.
Yeah.
You know, that's all part of that respect process. So we've always, as we've grown, we've always learned, we've always respected one another. We've never had a problem with respect.
No, that's never been an issue with us, really. Never has.
So, I mean, we've just a couple that just constantly continue to try to just grow and just be better each and every day. You know?
That's awesome. That is awesome. So I know the even the slogan for Team Bailey Fitness is "It's a lifestyle."
Mm-hmm.
How do you all encourage others to innovate their lives and showing them that, hey, fitness is not just a trend, like your health is serious.
Right.
It's not just a trend, it's a lifestyle. What advice could you give to somebody to tell them that, hey, it's got to be a part of your every day or every other day or whatever, and not just now, this is the beginning of the year. I know now that it's the beginning of the year, now the gym is back packed. I'm like, the last couple of months, it started getting kind of slow, but I'm like, you got to keep on pushing, you know, no matter what the season is and how it's looking. So what advice would you give to someone regarding just fitness being a lifestyle?
Well, I was talking to two young men when I was in the gym this morning. One 18 and one was 19. They were looking at me and they was like, hey, you have a great physique. How long have you been doing this? I'm like, well, over 25 years. Like, 20, well, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 51. He's like, oh my God. I'm like, well, this is something that this became a lifestyle at the same ages that you all are at, you know, and it became something. Now it became something a real lifestyle once I saw the benefits that you get from working out. You know, the quality of life. You know, just being able to have good knees.
Right.
You know,
that's important.
Not going to the doctor and your blood pressures. You know, having good checkups every time you go to the doctor, because a lot of people don't jump in this game until the doctor tells them they have this going on.
Right.
And that's what we try to prevent. We don't want your doctor telling you have all this going on. So that's why we encourage people out constantly, hey, you don't want your doctor telling you this. Let's get this done now.
Yo, I ain't gonna even lie. Like 2 years ago when I got started and really just got focused on my health journey for real and start innovating in that area. The reason why I innovated in that area wasn't because I had diabetes or anything like that. It wasn't that, but I noticed that my sleep got off. You know, I noticed that I wasn't, even when I like woke up the next morning, I didn't feel like I had rested the night before. And then that started to kind of result in me not being able to work as efficiently, you know. And then after we went and talked to my doctor, he had me do a sleep study and I found out that I was at the beginning stages of having sleep apnea. And so he gave me one of those machines. Well, he didn't give me the machine. I had to pay a lot of money for the machine. So the other thing is not being healthy costs money. And that's one of the things that I learned. And as I started using the machine, it was uncomfortable. And that really got me to thinking and that motivated me to say, hey, you know what? I got to do something. I got to change something. Because even though I was only like 30 at the time or like 29 at the time, I'm like, if I'm feeling like that now, I can only imagine if I live to see 60, how I'm going to feel then. And so we got to make sure that no matter what age we are, we're not too young to get started and get focused on our health. So one of the things that I started doing first is I started really focusing on what I was eating. Because one of the things that I did learn, you cannot outwork a bad diet. And so when I started really paying attention to what I was consuming, I know for me personally, like sugar is an addiction for me. And I was not even realizing how much juice I was drinking. So even though I may not have been eating a lot of desserts, I would drink, like anybody can tell you, like I would drink like 10 Sprites at a table after eating, you know, at one point in time. But I had to stop doing that and start doing water. And since then I have lost a lot of weight. I no longer need the sleep apnea machine. So I'm excited and proud about that. But I'm telling you, whatever you're going through in your body is going to show up in every other area in your life. It's going to show up in your relationships. I can tell that now with my wife, I have more energy to do more. I can tell when I look into my money, you know, in my business, how I'm able to think clearer and think freer and just be more effective. And so no matter what that why is for you, let that why get you into a position in a space to where you need to do what you need to do even before the doctor tells you need to do it. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to do it for you, and it's all up to you to make the difference. Because if you want to live, it's up to you to do it.
You know, we get so busy with our workloads. We had to talk with one of our clients today. He'd be moving 100 miles an hour, entrepreneur. You know, we was just like, man, he's just constantly going. He ain't been to class in a minute. Well, I've been in class, but he just hadn't been in class. Yeah. But, you know, we had to come to Jesus meeting with him in class this morning. Because, you know, he's like, man, so my blood pressure was this. We got to get you back. You know, it's got to take time for yourself. You have to take time for yourself. If you're not taking that time, that money gonna be there.
Right.
You're not gonna make the money if you're not here.
Right.
You know,
right.
If you got all these plans for your life, those plans are not gonna come into fruition if you're not able to live a good quality life. You know, so we have to take care of ourselves. It has to be at the top of our priority list. Has to be.
That's true. Question: do y'all think it's harder for entrepreneurs to stay committed than someone working a traditional job?
It's hard in general. It just depends on the mindset. If that mindset isn't there, whether you work for yourself or you still have to manage your schedule, you still have to be disciplined with your time. You still have to get the proper rest. So either way, it's not easy, but it's not easy for anyone.
It's not easy for anyone. People like, y'all always working out. It's plenty of days we don't want to feel like working out.
Yeah.
There's plenty of days.
That's where that discipline and consistency.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
I work out 6 days a week. Take off on Sundays. You know, but I've been consistent with that because I love living.
Yes.
I want to live a good quality life. You know, that's basically it. I want to live a good quality of life. And being a fitness influencer, being owning a fitness company, we can't not live a good quality life. You know, because we're not living a life. We got to live the life that we preach.
Right.
You know, in order for us to be successful.
We live by example.
You know, yeah.
Right. What are some of the biggest myths you all have been hearing on social media recently about health or nutrition?
There are so many to debunk, and it's not a one size fit because there are so many. Everything is subjective.
It just depends on the individual. A lot of things, you know,
because there are so many different fads out there. You have the keto, you have the intermittent fasting. I can't say a myth per se because you have to really just find what works for you and work the plan versus, you know, trying everything. You just have to work the plan.
And you have to you got to put the work in.
You got to put the work in. There is no quick fix.
There's no quick fix.
So how do you find what works for you?
Trial and error.
You stay committed to a program.
You stay committed to one program. You can't keep jumping from this program to that program to that. You guys got to find a good program with people who are knowledgeable of how to change your body.
And when we say program, that's 3 months of just being dedicated and consistent with your diet and nutrition.
Because it takes a good 3 months for you to really start seeing real change. But you have to work very, very hard. You know, it's no on and off switch.
Right. You have to be consistent with it.
That's good. That's good.
Let's get into these finances.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's talk about finances.
Let's talk about some money. What are some of the biggest things that you all have learned throughout your journey in regards to money? And what would you say were some of the challenges that y'all face?
We haven't faced any challenge with finance because we're both very disciplined with our spending, our saving. We just kind of do. We're not really traditional when it comes to finances. Our accounts, everything is separated. It works for us. It's not for any particular rhyme or reason. We both have access to it. But we just, but it don't cause confusion. Right. You know, we don't have everything in one pot, but we can access wherever we need. So we just kind of really keep it simple.
And what's needed, if something's needed from this pot, and, you know,
because we in this thing together.
We in this thing together. I mean, it's still
we
one
really
rat,
have
so
teamwork when it comes
to. We don't just leave and everything needs to be in one bank account.
Yeah, likewise.
But I for some reason,
spread out all over.
it's real just hard for me to just, even though we're one, in my mind, I'm still like, well,
I do have
my money, your money. So
I'm like, we're married. We've been married. 16,
so I'm like, I got it this
years.
time. And he's like, it's still coming out the same pot, but I don't consider it that way because our accounts are separated.
I'm treating this time. I'm like,
and even when we go out on,
makes no sense to me when you say I'm treating you this time.
and even for date night, if I don't have it to treat both of us, I'm like, we're going Dutch today. And he's like, what do you mean?
I don't understand this. I don't be understanding this.
I'm like, well, I can't afford both of us. So you pay for you, I pay for me. And it makes me feel better.
So see, I pay majority of the bills.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say majority, I mean majority of the bills. And so her little checks, they don't look.
No, I was going to say, you ain't got to say it like that.
She's been in her company a long time, so she makes good money. But that good money is a great cushion for us.
Absolutely.
It's a great cushion for us. And so, I'm like, we got plenty of money. Let's go touch this money everywhere. We got plenty.
It really takes, I don't think we can both be the same because Cedric is a spender. I'm very frugal.
He's a spender?
So I have
What type of shoes you got
to
on?
keep him.
Oh, God.
I have to kind of keep him focused on different things. I'm kind of like, okay, well,
But I'm a saver too.
let's not overspend. Let's not do all this.
But see,
So
I
you have to know
I
your
work hard.
spouse.
I
You have
work
to know your
hard.
spouse.
so I play hard. I work hard and I play hard.
And one
But-
has to, however you do your finances, one have to still manage and make sure
And I'm a hustler.
you're not.
I'm a hustler. I'm
off
gonna get
the
out there
door.
and get it. I'm gonna get out there and get it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
make sure that we are taken care of.
Yes.
Hey, it sounds like y'all balanced.
Pay
to
the
me.
tithes.
We
There you go.
very well.
and we gonna keep it moving.
Because we're complete opposites. I mean, we're opposites in everything.
I buy all her clothes.
Oh, wow.
If she wants, I said, if I buy me, I'm buying.
Let's talk about it. So that's another thing. When you're, and then when you have some kind of influence or, a little popular, or people look to you, you have to be careful. You have to protect your union because when you have people around you that don't have that same dynamic, it's easy, for people to envy or to do certain things. And, you just kind of have to really be protected and you have to protect your union because some things you can't talk about because not everybody is happy for you. So,
Right.
You may want to overshare and, sometimes you may want to just celebrate, the treatment, but
Sometimes I have to tell her, hey,
you have to be careful with that stuff.
keep this on low.
Yeah.
You don't need to. Everybody don't have to know everything you got going on.
And then being a business owner,
Right.
sometimes people don't want to pay to your business because they feel like you have it,
Yeah.
Right.
so you have
Too
to
much.
really kind of just learn how to I don't know, be a little discreet.
Yeah. I totally
What
agree with
social
that.
media is, everyone wants to post everything. Get a new car.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
everything doesn't have to be, for everybody to know about.
Question. So now, of course, with social media, it's a difference between being secret and being private.
Yes.
So in terms of social media, I feel like I see everything about y'all and know everything about y'all, but me being like, we post often, but we also know it's a lot of stuff that we don't. Like, how do you all determine what to post and what not to post? Like, what do you keep private versus what do you share?
I give enough. Like I share everything and then I share nothing. So you have to, for me, I give enough to where you can kind of feel like you know me. Like I meet people out all the time and they feel like they know me because of, what's shared. So I like to share enough to where I'm relatable. I like to share enough to where, it's not a one size fit. And just because we're in fitness, I'm more than just fitness. I live a balanced life.
We are a whole brand, actually.
Yes. So you have to kind of share enough where people can relate to you, but you got to govern your relationship private. Your family life is private. You will never see, me losing someone and I'm, it's just certain things that just needs to be private and kept close to the heart. And you just kind of have to protect those things special to you.
Matters on social media, things like that, and a lot of times we want couples to see how beautiful marriage is.
Yes.
Right.
And that's another reason why we do post us together. I post my wife all the time. So, husbands can say, hey, okay, it's okay for me to post my wife, and
absolutely.
It makes a woman feel good, knowing that her husband is,
proud,
proud to be with you,
Right.
A lot of people don't. Sometimes you don't even know people even married.
Right.
Right.
And to our anniversary, 10 years up.
And what about your inbox is out? Somebody out in your inbox was they didn't have 2 years even married.
Right. That's the truth.
For me, I'm a private person, and I am, because I know that I can be easily offended. I don't allow people that opportunity to get close to me to a point to where, I'm gonna feel offended. I value my sleep, I value my privacy, and I just keep all that in perspective. It's about being relatable, though. You just want to kind of share enough to where people can feel like they can be relatable to you and, not feel like you're out of reach. Because I think, in my opinion, being in the fitness industry, it can be intimidating to a lot of people that don't share that same interest. But we're all inclusive, so we want to make sure everyone feels included, regardless as to what level you are. They know they can come to us, whether or not they're a beginner. They don't have to feel the intimidation at all, because it's already that comfort of knowing. We come from different walks, but I feel like I know that person. I feel like, we have something in common that we share.
Right. And one of the other things that I respect about you all is that y'all have both male and female clients. And I think one of the reasons why I work so well is because you all also work together. Because it's like, I know a lot of trainers that I work with. It's like, it'll be male trainers that got a lot of female clients. And I'm like, that's a slippery slope.
Right.
And the same thing for the females. But the fact that I see you training men and women, and the same thing with you as well. Punkin. And so it's like, I just think that that's an awesome combination to be able to have, to be secure in your marriage, for number one, to be able to do that. And then for number two, to be able to be versatile like that in the marketplace, and people respect that, So, question, have y'all been through any times where y'all had certain clients or anything trying to tempt either one of you?
No. Actually,
at all.
We actually, when I have a new client, especially a woman, I like to say, hey, are you married? Does your husband know that you're training with a man? How does he feel about that? Do you mind if I meet him, or do we need him to have a meet and greet or something, just so, and that's how I normally handle that. But no, that's another reason why I post my wife so much.
Yeah.
So you ain't gotta be in town to holler at me.
Yeah.
It's very apparent. They already know what I do. Yeah.
Oh, that's it, punk.
And that
men, nobody tries to approach her ever,
Yeah. And our female clients, they feel, real comfortable, because they know, they already know coming in on the beginning side, like, I don't feel like I need to worry about him, because he's very committed to his wife. There are still, those married men out there, and you can tell they still have a loose eye, but the ones that have the respect, and they keep it professional, and they already know what they're getting before they come. So we've never had an issue there.
Overall goal is to either find a building that we can buy and have our own TBF instead of renting, or find some land and building a TBF. That's my overall goal.
And I think that when you are centered with God, it's like that kind of changes the dynamics too. What role would y'all say that God have played within y'all relationship and in y'all's business?
I mean, that's the biggest thing in our relationship, business. The more you grow closer to God, the more bigger your blessings are going to become.
Yes.
The more you trust God and understand that this is all about Him, and the situations, the chaos, a lot of it's all tests to see how you're going to handle it.
Just being faithful to God,
just being faithful to Him. Just having strong faith that He's going to see you through any and everything you're going.
Because as long as you trust and lean on Him, He's not going to let you fail. Even through COVID, COVID was another situation where we had to really grow and trust, but we flourished. And I just believe it's just because, our protection, God He don't play about us.
Yeah.
He don't play about us at all. And He makes sure all our needs are met. So
I know that's right. Do you have any closing words or remarks, or what advice would you give to the audience, and give them your contact information? How can we follow you and find you?
Well,
we're on all socials.
Yes, we are on all social. Instagram. I'm the influencer, Cedric Bailey. Team Bailey Fitness Reloaded on Instagram. _reloaded. Reloaded. I'm the Cedric Bailey on Instagram. On Facebook. What is it?
I am affectionately _PH on Instagram. I just prefer Instagram. I don't really do Facebook. Facebook is too much of a distraction. Social media you just have to starve your distractions. And I try not to just get looped in with the everyday, but affectionately PH on Instagram.
But being an entrepreneur, we kind of have to be on social media.
Yes.
We have to be on social media. I'm not people would think that I just love social media. I really do not like social media. If I could get somebody to do all of my social media stuff, I wouldn't be on social media.
You have to remind people you're there so they know exactly where.
That's the only reason why we do so much posting the way we do, and let you see the parts of our lives that we do let you see.
Makes sense. So what we'll do is we'll actually put all of their contact information directly into the bio section of this particular video. Y'all definitely want to check these guys out. They don't only talk the talk, they definitely walk the walk. Yes. And I've been a personal witness of it for the past 10 years. So yeah, thank you all so much for joining me on today. And I look forward to see all of the great things that's going to come from y'all this year.
It gets better.
And we know that you're going to continue doing great things yourself, because I've watched you for 10 years and you have done nothing but elevate.
I appreciate it.
Always innovative.
Yes.
Appreciate it. We'll see y'all next